Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say that Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, cheated death twice this week on the CBS soap. Is Bill Spencer's, Don Diamond, son the luckiest man alive? Or is the Spencer clan being conned by Dr. Grace Buckingham, Cassandra Creech? After Liam Spencer survived getting shot by Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, Finn and his team raced into the operating room and removed the bullet. While Liam was recovering from his gunshot wound, his father Bill Spencer arrived at the hospital and learned that his son had been hiding his cancer diagnosis from him. Dollar Bill likes to play God and throw money at his problems. It wasn't long before he cooked up a deal with Dr. Grace Buckingham to save his son. Grace and Bill checked Liam out of the hospital and took him to another location where Grace performed experimental surgery to remove Liam's inoperable brain tumor. As soon as the surgery was complete, Bill Spencer wired her $1 million. Not bad for a day's work. Bold and the beautiful spoilers hint Bill Spencer could have just been conned. Grace Buckingham is a medical professional. It's strange that she released Liam an hour after two massive surgeries. She explained that a nurse would visit Liam at the Spencer mansion and care for him, but it's all very suspicious. Plus, we can't forget all the shady stuff Grace's husband was involved in, like using his medical credentials to steal babies and sell them. Imagine if Liam Spencer wakes up and nothing has changed, and his father spent $1 million on an imaginary surgery. Do you think Grace just scammed Bill Spencer and Liam? Grace Buckingham has returned to the bold and the beautiful with a kind of mysterious, commanding presence that turns heads and stirs speculation. When Grace shows up, she doesn't just stir the pot, she brings the entire kitchen with her. But fans are asking one burning question: what is Grace really up to? Her concerned mother act might not be the whole truth. Behind the polished wardrobe, psychology degree, and protective mother facade, could Grace be hiding a deeper, more calculated agenda? The return of Dr. Grace Buckingham. When Grace Buckingham reappeared at Forrester Creations, her presence was explained as a visit to check in on her daughter, Paris. But longtime B&B fans immediately knew there was more to her reemergence than parental concern. Grace, played with elegance and fire by Cassandra Creech, has always had a fiercely protective streak, but also a sharp strategic mind. She doesn't just follow people, she studies them, and when she moves, it's always with precision. Upon arrival, Grace quickly made it clear she wasn't thrilled about Luna's rising presence in the Forrester orbit. She voiced concerns about Luna's past, whispered warnings about deception, and hinted that she's privy to secrets not even Luna knows. But Grace's motives don't seem entirely maternal or even professional. There's an edge to her questions, a purpose to her tone. Could she be working toward a much bigger endgame? Grace's shaky past with the Forresters. To understand what Grace might really be up to, we must remember her checkered history with the Forrester family. While she always had her daughter's best interest in mind, her tactics often bordered on obsessive. Remember when she pushed Paris hard toward Zend, dismissing any romantic instincts Paris had for Carter? Grace saw Zend as a safe option, one with wealth, family ties, and a certain security. But it wasn't just about safety. It was about proximity to power. It's worth noting that Grace came from the world of academia and clinical psychology. She wasn't born into light glamour, she fought her way up. And the Forresters, in her eyes, represent stability, opportunity, and generational legacy. Is it possible that Grace never truly stopped trying to secure her daughter's future with a Forrester name? Or even, her own? Could her sudden reappearance be the opening move in a long-awaited attempt to climb into the Forrester dynasty herself? Grace and Finn, an unspoken connection. Fans were shocked when Grace appeared to take a sudden interest in Dr. John Finn Finnegan. At first, it seemed casual, perhaps professional admiration between two doctors. But viewers with sharp eyes noticed the lingering glances, the subtle tension, and even a flicker of nostalgia in Grace's expression when she first laid eyes on Finn. The theory on social media is spreading fast. Did Grace know Finn's birth mother, Sheila Carter, long before anyone suspected? Could she have even crossed paths with Jack Finnegan in the past? Here's where things get really interesting. There have been murmurings that Grace once worked at a clinic in the Pacific Northwest around the same time Jack was keeping Sheila's pregnancy a secret. If Grace knew about Finn before anyone else, possibly even before Jack confessed, she could be holding a very powerful secret. A secret she could use to manipulate Finn, gain leverage with Steffi, or insert herself into family dynamics for her own strategic gain. Could Grace's knowledge about Finn's origins give her a dangerous edge? Grace versus Luna, maternal instinct or hidden vendetta? Grace's wariness toward Luna initially seemed like overprotective parenting, perhaps concerned that Luna's presence would overshadow Paris at Forrester. But as their tension grew, it began to feel personal, uncomfortably personal. There's a theory that's gaining traction. Could Grace be connected to Poppy Nozawa's past? We know that Poppy, Luna's free-spirited mother, lived a wild and complicated life. She's been vague about Luna's paternity, and her relationships were often fleeting or messy. What if one of those relationships crossed paths with Grace's past in a way that sparked long-held resentment? Could Grace and Poppy have once loved the same man? Was Grace betrayed by someone who chose Poppy over her? Or worse, could Luna be the child of a man Grace once loved, making her rejection of Luna not just professional, but deeply personal? Grace's subtle barbs toward Luna, disguised as concern, feel emotionally charged. Her possessiveness of Paris has taken on a new dimension, one that feels like more than simple maternal pride. It feels like a battle for legacy. A Forrester affair? Grace's chemistry with Eric? It wouldn't be The Bold and the Beautiful without a romantic entanglement, and eagle-eyed fans have noticed an unexpected spark between Grace and Eric Forrester. Though fleeting, their recent scenes have been filled with suggestive undertones. Grace complimented Eric's wisdom and admired his loyalty to family. Eric, in turn, praised Grace's integrity and grace under pressure. Coincidence? Not on this show. Eric, who has been reeling from recent health issues and emotional turmoil with Donna, could be especially vulnerable to a poised, elegant woman like Grace. And Grace knows how to present herself exactly how someone needs her to be. Could she be positioning herself as Eric's confidant, or even more? An affair, or even a romance, with Eric would catapult Grace into Forrester royalty, bypassing the complicated dramas of her daughter's romantic life. Grace may have realized that the best way to protect Paris's future is to secure her own. Psychological games. Is Grace manipulating everyone? Let's not forget Grace's background. She's a clinical psychologist. She understands behavior, trauma, manipulation, and influence. What if Grace is using her training not just to assess others, but to control them? Her conversations are laced with subtle gaslighting, gentle guilt trips, and rehearsed sincerity. She seems to know what to say to each character to plant just the right doubt or emotion. To Paris, she plays the nurturing mother, but guilt trips her about her decisions. To Luna, she pretends to warn, while subtly isolating her. To Finn, she appeals to his sense of ethics and family. To Eric, she plays the kindred soul, the quiet strength in a storm. It's not out of the question to believe Grace is orchestrating a long-game manipulation, perhaps even a psychological takedown of people she sees as threats, or those who've crossed her in the past. Could she be plotting to gaslight her way into becoming one of the most powerful women in LA? The Paris factor, a pawn or a partner? There's a twist we can't ignore. What if Paris isn't just an innocent daughter being pulled along in her mother's drama? Paris has changed since Grace's return. She's more guarded, more polished, and far more calculating when it comes to her place in the company and its hierarchy. Could Grace and Paris be working together in a slow-burn scheme to cement their roles at Forrester Creations? A mother-daughter con, cloaked in manners and tears, would be a masterclass in soap storytelling. And it would explain Paris's sudden support of her mother's critiques, her unwillingness to stand up for Luna, and her odd support of Eric's affection toward Grace. Has Grace turned her daughter from idealist to strategist? A hidden agenda with Carter. Then there's Carter. Grace once aggressively warned Carter away from Paris, but now she's making quiet efforts to reconcile with him, offering subtle praise, casual encounters, and even brief moments of emotional vulnerability. Could Grace be attempting to rekindle something romantic with Carter herself? Or worse, using Carter's emotional loyalty as a chess piece to manipulate situations at Forrester? Remember, Carter is trusted by Eric, Ridge, and others in the company. If Grace earns his trust, she might gain access to confidential information, or decisions, or future planning that she could use to benefit either herself or Paris. Is Carter a love interest or a means to an end? The Sheila wildcard. Finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Sheila Carter. Sheila's reach continues to haunt the lives of everyone in LA, but what if Grace isn't as disconnected from her as we think? Could Grace and Sheila have once been rivals, or allies? There's an undeniable overlap in their timelines, particularly in the medical and psychological fields. Maybe they worked at the same clinic. Maybe Grace helped cover something up for Sheila in the past, and is now cashing in on that silence. Or perhaps Grace has returned to take Sheila down once and for all, under the guise of familial protection. Whatever their connection, it's becoming clear. Sheila isn't the only dangerous woman walking the streets of LA anymore. Final thoughts. What comes next? Grace Buckingham is not just a mother, she's not just a professional. She's not even just a woman scorned. She's a wild card. Her intelligence, ambition, and subtle manipulation tactics put her in rare company. Whether she's vying for a spot beside Eric, working to take down Luna, reviving an old vendetta against Poppy, or simply carving out power for herself, Grace has planted herself in the center of the Forrester storm. The only question is, how long until her real plan explodes into full view? One thing is certain, on The Bold and the Beautiful, no one is ever just visiting. And Grace Buckingham may be the most quietly dangerous character to step into Forrester Creations in years. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Boldy and BAU to UPDAT YouTube channel for more update news.